every couple of weeks, every 2 weeks.
For generating information or just for specific information?
I send them general information, I send them maybe an interesting article or an interesting product that we manufactured. We do a lot of different wide format manufacturing, you know, standees, banner stands, that kind of thing, and do entertainment events. And a lot of that stuff is very interesting, and people love to see new ideas. People love to, you know, see a direct mail piece and they get it in their hands, because that's the primary thing behind direct mail. You get it in your hands, you can touch it, you can feel the texture, it triggers an emotional response. We can even put scent in a direct mail piece, so you smell it. You can be brought into a moment or into a place. If it's a picture of a forest and it's got that wood scent, that pine scent in it, you know, you're automatically transitioned right into that forest in your mind. And if that's the place you want to be, then that's a great thing. You're going to hang on to it. And, you know, so I try to send that type of information to people. Did you have a question, Lon?
Yeah, kind of question, kind of comment. I understand what you're saying with, like, as far as, you know, a picture connecting with someone on an emotional level or a mental level. But my issue with direct mail is you get so much spam in the mail. How are they going to look through yours instead of throwing everything away like normally I would?
How relevant is it to you? How do you go about sorting your mail?
If it's in an envelope, looking official, I'll keep it. If it isn't, I'll throw it out.
Mm-hmm. And do you think everybody sorts their mail the same way?
Probably not, but I would go with majority, yeah.
Okay. Then
Because people are
if a
busy.
piece came, what's an interest outside of work or in work that you have? What's a special area that you're really interested in?
Video games.
Video games. So if it had the latest video game, what's the latest video game? What are you
Let's go with
really
Destiny. Let's go
hooked
with
on right now?
Destiny. It's coming out September, Destiny.
Destiny. Okay, Destiny. So if there's a picture of Destiny, of this video game, something graphic that really grabs your attention, you wouldn't look at that?
I'm gonna frame it, the graphics are good.
There you go. Okay, you can frame it. So that's how you get people's attention.
Good.
And then
Good job.
they'll carry it from there.
Excellent. Good. And then you can ask him questions afterwards too. We're just going to move along here. Good questions though. Really good questions. We're moving into our Q&A time. You kind of feel like, from what you've seen so far, what you've experienced so far, you feel like you're taking a drink out of a fire hydrant? I mean, seriously, it's just like, hi, got the little thing here. Oh, it barely comes out. It doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it's not too cold. I don't want that water. It's like, oh, boom! You're like, well, that's a lot of water, right? Okay. Well, that's just what happened. Okay. So what we're going to do is take this time to decompress a little bit and ask some questions. Questions regarding what we've seen today. And if you've noticed this wonderful, and who put this together?
Tim and Jonathan.
Tim and Jonathan. Give it up for Tim and Jonathan. I think this, can I move it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to break it, am I? Oh, he's freaking out now. He's freaking
It might
out.
fall over.
Okay, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're seeing. All right, this is great. All right, I'm just going to stand here. So the Q&A today is going to be revolving around, all right, the 530 grid, right? The 530 grid, right? This is often the reality. These are like separate things here. These are just separate pieces. All right? So in order to generate a large quantity of referrals, this has to be connected. Mark did a fantastic job in outlining how you can get a large quantity of referrals through the 530 grid. Wade did a great job with finding, when we talk to the people, how to move them into the 530 grid based on their personality. And Bruce did a great job with the natural laws and how it is the developing of the trust and how they want to go through this process in the meantime. I mean, you could start with marketing, which is area 1, okay? All right? Which is more and better leads. But that's not gonna happen without trust. You're not gonna develop the trust without knowing who they are, right? So I guess the question is how do you think that you can get more and better leads to get a greater quantity of leads based on that? Any questions about how we can get more and better leads? How can we bring people into the whole funnel of this system? How can we bring them into the funnel of the system? Because where is it going? It's going from more and better leads, which we've talked about before, to the pre-sales, sales, servicing that Mark just talked about. And next time, we're going to be talking about client for life. All right? So based on getting a larger quantity of leads, okay, we've talked about how to do that, all right? What questions do you have or insights do you have based on what you've heard today that can help people move through this system? Questions, ideas, insights. Mark,
In building these systems,
right?
I know that using an EVA is really exciting because
What's an EVA? Everybody might not know what
an
that is.
executive virtual assistant,
Okay?
okay? The question I have is, how do you think you can help your EVA get to the specific types of referrals and build your systems so that you're within that target market you need to be in?
That's a great question. Throw that out.
Well, a lot of it's gonna come back to where you're getting your leads from, the area one, the red. It's how do you go, where are you getting them from? One of the best ways to do that is through profitable partnerships. And so if you're, for example, trying to get people that have enough money to invest, what partners could you work with to go ahead and find people who have money to invest?
Financial planners.
Probably not. Why?
Because they have other people's money.
Well, they
Because
direct
you're
money.
competing?
Some financial planners, but financial planners often are not gonna want to refer people into real estate.
Because it's taking money out of that portfolio and putting it into
Right.
your asset.
And again,
Assets that you're not gonna.
right, so that might not be, who else, what would be another?
Right, who's a non-competing
CPA.
CPAs, absolutely, absolutely very powerful partners, and so you look at.
why are they? Just curious. Let's make it obvious.
Well, they're-
CPAs.
Yeah, they're
Do what?
looking at, they often work with business owners,
Right.
they work with, people that have needs that, tax-wise, and so they have all the information, their relationship is trusted, so you can borrow their trust, you can tap into their trust. They have a wide range of people. They have a wide range of people throughout the community, all types of people in all types of industries.
So what question could Mark ask a CPA if he comes across one that could help him in his business and help him double his income?
Well, you lead always with helping other people, so I
Right.
would say, to the CPA, I'd say, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing in any area of your business or life?
Okay?
If somebody could help you in any area of your, if somebody could help you in any area of your business, what would you love help on?
Okay?
So I would lead with those two.
Right?
Once you get those two, then you go ahead and give it some thought, and then come back, talk with your mastermind group, get some feedback from there. If you can get a third party to come in and recommend you, that's even more powerful.
And anybody can do just what Mark said with your individual business. Right? I mean, talking about a large quantity of leads, right? We're also talking about converting those leads, right?
Right.
So that's the pre-sales.
So,
We're talking about referrals at this point.
We are talking about referrals.
so which pipe would you want? Would you want this one? Or would you want this one? See, what most don't recognize is it's a pipeline, and so you're only as strong as your smallest pipe. And where even Tom Kuntz, he president of the largest real estate franchise in the world, okay, they probably have their act together.
Sorry.
But he said they're missing area 2. they're missing area too. So what they do is they combine pre-sales with the sales, which we learned from Wade, that in pre-sales, typically people who do well in pre-sales are gonna be the cubes and the balls, the analytical and the amiable. So when you go through the speed networking, and you find out what your shape is, you'll know, are you good in pre-sales or sales? So the analytic and the amiable will tend to do better in this area. Okay? Because it's giving people information. It doesn't matter what you're selling. I mean, you know, with Mark and veterans, I mean, the 530 grid is a model, the BOSS system, the business operating system, is a model for helping to create massive amounts of donations. It's the same exact thing. Or massive awareness, or massive volunteers. And so this is what we as a Chicago group want to do for veterans. We want to get a whole bunch of veterans. We want to go ahead and bring them in. We want to teach them that the 530 grid, the DNA of people, DNA of business, DNA of life equals the business operating system. We want to do that. And we want to go ahead and then help them drill down in and start their own companies. Why do we, in the Chicago chapter, not just the Chicago chapter, but all over the country, why do we want to help veterans? There's two reasons, okay? One is we're nice people. I mean, they give us the ability as business people to be able to function in a free country. And so we care about them, okay? So one is selflessness. We want to help them. So I was out at Camp Pendleton with Tom Kuntz a few years ago, and in Vietnam, that was not a good situation when they came home. And the military is and the government is very, very aware of that situation, and that cannot be. And so if you think about it, you're 18, you go into the military, you come out, you can't find a job. What's somebody who's, 20 or 21 or 22 and they can't find a job and they've served their country, what's the tendency of who they're going to not be happy with? The government, the military, or civilians. It's not good. That's not a good situation for them. It's not a good situation for us. So one is selflessness. The other is selfishness. We're business people. And if we help other businesses get started and create success, that helps me. As I help veterans start their own companies and be more successul, then they'll help me.
Do we want to help like one veteran?
Right.
Or do we want to help like 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000? How many people? Whoa. See, that's what happens if you don't implement it correctly. It falls apart. It falls apart. Just like that.
Very good.
Right?
You planned that, right?
That took, you know how long we had to practice for that? It was crazy.
It's 3 hours
Cross-track.
out of my life. How many veterans do you have connections to right now?
Veterans or organizations that
No.
can help veterans? Organizations not to help them because
Both.
veterans we need to connect better with. I
Okay.
have 5,000 people trained to connect with veterans that are sitting there twiddling their thumbs right now.
5,000 veterans twiddling their thumbs.
5,000 people trained to assist veterans.
I want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Yes. We are looking for 20,000 veterans that we can assign to these people. A lot of them are psychologically wounded at the moment. Well, many of them are. 17% are psychologically wounded.
So in
those
the
people we-
bonus session, we're going to see, we're going to see somebody who's psychologically wounded and how they've turned that into their asset.
Sure, absolutely.
So can you guys see how having veterans here to be able to understand? I mean, one of the challenges of veterans is in relationships. Personality masteries will help them in that.
And you have to really build a relationship because they are a tight-knit group that really doesn't like to go out into the community too quickly. You gotta work slowly and methodically with them too.
Kind of like most
Because
people.
their buddies are in the field.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You know,
They're
Right.
battle buddies. Those are the guys that they trust.
Say it again.
Battle buddies are the ones they trust.
Metal.
Battle
Battle buddies.
yes. No matter
Battle
what
buddies are the
branch.
ones they trust because they went through
That's right.
hell with them and
Yeah.
came
And not
out.
always hell. They
Right,
just train together.
but they trained together.
Absolutely.
So how can we
And the
develop
government is doing
trust?
the job of finding them jobs at the end of their tour,
Well, the government's, you know,
unfortunately.
it's business people who create jobs, okay?
That's
The
right.
government does do a good job on taxing, okay, and taking money from people who have money, and then they can take a certain amount of people and employ them. Business people will go ahead and create jobs and opportunities and growth to be able to fund the government, to fund education, to fund community-based organizations. And so business people, when they learn to partner up with community-based organizations, their businesses are going to grow. As they have larger businesses, as they're generating more sales, more profit, then they're able to contribute back in. It's bringing all of these things together in a spectacular way. I think we're just about finished.
We are. Next time, we are going to be going into client for life. Client for life. How to move somebody from marketing, born better leads, the pre-sales, moving leads to conversation. It's right there on page 5 of your handout. Area 3, we've talked about the sale. We've talked about servicing. This time we're talking about client for life. All right? And keeping them all together. That's what we're going to be, everything's going to be focusing on. DNA for people, DNA for business, and DNA for life. About how to create that client for life, right? So that there's a great trust developed, people know what you're about. And I'm just going to throw out a question. Mark, if we move slowly, as this Chicago area group, and take our time and help the people, the veterans, develop personality masteries, develop the DNA for people, help develop the DNA for business through the 530 grid, and then also introduce them to the DNA for life, which is the natural laws. If we can bring that together
Yes,
effectively, slowly,
yes.
tell me in your thought process what you think that could do for those veterans.
Oh, massive.
Massive meaning
Meaning, giving them hope, for one.
hope.
Yes. Giving them a good challenge outside of the military environment. Bringing them into the business world, or there's many other worlds, but very good connections to help them go from the military, the training that they received in the military, which a lot of it is not transferable into the civilian market, but they are dedicated, they are disciplined, they are some of the best people to hire, because once they understand what you are doing for them, and that they are not going to be, again, they are insular within their organization. Once they come out, they're looking for organizations like ours that we as veterans can relate to them as veterans. Because we don't want that Vietnam stuff going on again. You know, it's, you cut them right off, and the biggest supporters of our veterans today are Vietnam veterans. Because they do not want to see what happened to Vietnam and when they came home. To help them get on their feet and get moving forward and becoming the leaders of the future.
So do you see, is what we showed today, what you've experienced today, do you think that this is enough to develop that trust?
Absolutely.
And once we've developed that trust moving forward together, all of our businesses working in synergy together, and for everybody that's watching this
Yes.
on the video, it's for you too, right?
Yes.
That-
Authenticity is critical.
Say it again, wait.
Authenticity and opaqueness, which we're not seeing from our government right now. So you got a lot of veterans really teed off with the federal government right now.
So-
They're getting their pink slips out on the battlefield. This is ridiculous. You know, you're telling them already while they're in the battlefield
See, there was something
that they're not worth anything.
There's something that Mark said that was, I think, really important, and that is that, you know, there's things that they've learned that aren't applicable.
Right.
And that actually isn't true.
No. that's true.
Everything that they've learned is applicable in business. It's like my wife, she stayed home with our 7 children, and, you know, and did homeschooling and all those things, and so there's a heart that I have for people that think like a homemaker. She thinks her experience, you know, at home does not apply to business. That is not the case. So everything that they've experienced when they join this group, anyone, it doesn't matter. And Tom, you know, he was in special ops in the Army, and some of the stories he has to share helped him, his military background helped him to go ahead and become president of the largest real estate company in the world. And so it's bringing all of these things together and helping them to see
Right.
that they can go ahead and leverage all of that to see success.
Yeah, Mark.
I understand the comment that Mark made about the transferability, because when you get down to it, the basic job of a soldier is to be a trained professional killer. And how does that,
Yeah, absolutely.
so how does that get transferred? But if you understand, as we do, the personality masteries,
Well, actually, that's not their job. That's the surface. Their job is to provide freedom, you know, for
To protect
America.
our freedom.
right,
Protect
but
the
that takes a
Constitution.
certain amount of the ability to follow instructions and to be analytical, to assess the situation, right? To have relationships with the other soldiers, to cooperate and work in a
To take
group.
action.
So all of those skills are there.
Yes.
But I think that surface that I'm saying is what people think about when you're hiring a vet.
Well, that's why I think what we ought to do is help vets go ahead and start their own companies,
Yeah.
because they have 50% of what's necessary. Follow a system, know your responsibilities, know how to build teams, know how to build loyalty really, really fast. They know, they've experienced all of that firsthand. Now they just need to have a system that applies to business. They had a system that applied for freedom, keeping it, maintaining it. Now they need something for their business, and we've got that.
Wow.
Well, no matter what people think, we are nation builders.
Oh,
And we have done it since the Revolutionary War.
the
World War I,
1776.
World War II. I mean, my goodness. China, Japan, Germany. We were there after the wars to assist in the development of their countries.
Multi-generational.
That's right.
Multi-generational
Yes.
builders
Yes,
that had literally DNA transferred to them,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah. And we're doing it in Afghanistan, we did it in Iraq. Believe it or not, we did. It's huge, unfortunately.
This is great.
I just had a comment on
Okay.
the subject. As far as soldiers go, they do, I believe it's called MOS or something, where they do
An
get.
MLS is your specialty, or in the Air Force is a specialty code. Yeah.
You know, which does transfer into
Yes.
a civilian world.
Yeah, the
I
core
think-
value may not the core that they're built upon.
I mean,
You have a
it's
circular
essential
core that has
skills.
many things that you can transfer. It's just that
But-
little bit that focus sometimes.
Right, but as far as being trained as a good soldier, they're trained to follow orders.
Yes.
And so the biggest problem with starting their own company is, I would say, one, I mean, they've been trained to follow the order, not question the order. You know, someone that's beginning a business can't have that quality.
Well, that's pretty much every person that graduates from high school.
Right.
I mean, they're no different, I mean,
No.
and so the whole educational system does not build entrepreneurialism. The whole educational system actually takes it out.
It does, but
So you can take that and you can just redirect that and rewire that
Of course.
to be able to say, hey, here's a system, you follow the system, and you're gonna see success.
Of
Cool.
course. I mean, in school, you have the option to agree or disagree with what you read in the books. In the military, you're kind of not allowed to have an official opinion, you know.
Well, yeah, if you disagree in school, they just fail you.
Right.
Okay, so you really don't have, there's
Right.
not a lot.
Right.
Officers do question in the field because they have to adapt.
Right.
To an
You know,
environment.
that's why I'm thinking that the psychological issue would be the biggest priority to get her back into work.
Good deal. Good meeting, guys. Yeah? Okay?
One more question. Everybody's had time to think about it. Who wants to volunteer to host lunch next month?
Mark Elkins. Excellent. Hey, thanks for coming. Teresa should be here in a minute, and we'll have the bonus session.